Hey, everybody. Welcome back again here to the On God podcast. I'm Pastor Christopher Mays from Reimagine Church. I am here with one of the most awesome people in the world, Lucy Beretta. And we're just so happy to be able to spend some time with you weekly on these podcast episodes. We hope that you're learning some things, grabbing some stuff that's helping you out in life. We want to bring context to the culture because we do believe that the culture of this present day, 2024, is missing context. And we're just looking to introduce some stuff, bring some stuff to the table that we've learned through life experience, through our relationship with Jesus, our journey as Christians. And let me just say this before we get going with what Lucy's going to share and bring to the table today. We're still learning.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I'm learning all the time. I've been married 25 years. I'm still learning how to be a husband. I've raised 5 kids. I'm still learning how to be a dad. I've got a granddaughter now. Now I'm learning how to be a grandfather, and that's all new to me too. But we're learning. Like you may reach a point in life where you've done some things well, you've succeeded, you've crushed it even, but you're always going to be learning. There's always going to be some thing more to learn about the present thing you're involved in, or some new thing that's going to catch your eye or your interest, and you're going to be like, I want to learn that now. And we're always going to be students.
And we should embrace that.
Yeah, don't run from that.
Embrace learning.
Yes.
Because even though you go, I don't really know. How do you know until you try? How do you know until you look it up and say, hey, that's interesting?
Yeah.
Never know.
I thought I didn't like okra for the longest time. And you know what I discovered about... let me tell you what I discovered about okra. All right? Those of you from the South, you get me. Because I grew up in Florida as a kid. So you don't get more South than Florida. Okay? If you don't bread and fry your okra, just throw it in the garbage. Okay? That's the only way you can eat okra. Oh. But the first time I was introduced to okra, it was boiled. And I was like, no, nobody should eat this. This is awful. Then I was at a buffet, and there was fried okra on the buffet.
And you loved it.
And I tried it, and I was like, wait a minute.
Same food. Same
okra that I thought once was the most horrible thing on the planet. Then I had it, breaded and deep fried, and I was like, wait a minute. I actually love this. I could eat buckets of it now.
Okay.
I don't know what that was supposed to mean for...
It's good that he likes it.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you like it.
So maybe the lesson is this. Maybe it's not the thing. It's just you're doing the thing wrong. Just do the thing different.
True.
Try doing it different.
True. Yes.
I think that just spoke to somebody. I really do. I think that was kind of prophetic, actually. Yes. I'm not trying to say I'm a prophet or anything, but maybe you're doing something, okay? Maybe you're on some adventure with something. Maybe you're podcasting too, and it's not going so well. I don't know. Yep. You're doing something, and it's not the thing. But it's the way you're doing the thing. The way it's being done, right? The way it's being done. There's something else to learn. There's some different way to do it. There's some different piece of equipment you need to buy instead or something. Listen, I might be speaking to somebody right now. Don't quit. Don't stop.
No.
Don't stop unless God tells you weren't supposed to do this in the first place. Yeah. Okay? But also I want to say this. There is a line to be drawn between passions and gifts. You do need to learn that. The stuff that you're gifted at, you'll know because that's the stuff that you know how to do it well. Then there are other things you just think they're cool, but it's not really you're gifted at it. Right. You're passionate about it. So know how to separate between the two. That is valuable. That's a whole nother thing. We won't get into that right now. But anyways, don't stop. You may just be in a spot where you just need to learn how to do it different.
And getting results is based on how you have learned how to do it or want to do it or tweaking something. Just saying, that doesn't work, but you know what? This does. So it just because it works for Joe Schmo may not work for you. That's okay. Differences are okay. And I think this is one of the things we find in the culture today. Differences seem to make the hair stand up on some people's heads. Yeah. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have a different belief, opinion, whatever you want to. It's okay. We can embrace the differences and still agree to disagree at times. So anyways, bringing this back into where I would like to take it with, again, we're going to go to Proverbs and we're going to study the scripture in chapter 1. And this one is going to be number 6. It's to understand a proverb or to understand an enigma, which is basically defined as a mystery or dark sayings. And these are based on hard questions. Interpretation is a proverb. But if we want to be wise, we can understand how just by comparing, say, spiritual to spiritual, natural to natural, because there are those that know already how to do it. And we're talking about that now with people who have gone before us or people that we work with that seem to have made it in that one particular area of their life. We can choose to talk to them and hopefully have a relationship where they will share what they learned in that particular journey. We're gonna actually do a little decision making today, but before we do, there's just some things I think we should bring out. We don't want to make decisions based on emotions. Emotions. We don't want to go there either. No, we will go there.
I'm not biting on that just yet.
But how many wrong decisions have been made on emotions? Yeah, so that's something that takes a while. I really believe it takes a while. It's a process. I don't think anybody gets that one overnight. It just doesn't, because we're emotional first. It's part of our soul. And even though God is a God of emotion, he's emotional. He has a heart that grieves at times. We cannot make decisions on emotions. And I've done it so many times in my younger years more, hopefully, but I still do it. I still do it occasionally. And I have to stop myself, back up and say, what am I doing? And really question myself and go back to the Lord and say, Lord, what is it you want me to do? So decisions shouldn't be made based on emotions. That's number one. And number two, consider the consequences when we're making decisions. What's the objective? What's our motive?
What are you doing to me right now?
Oh, is it tapping into something there? Okay. See? Well, that's how we learn. We learn from each other here, by the way. And then listen for a small voice. If you're a believer, listen for this small voice, the voice of God, to give you the wise decision. And we were talking about it earlier. Whatever choices we make, or God, well, let's not even put God into it yet. But if we make a choice, it could be a really good choice. It could really be something wonderful. But is it wonderful for me? Is it God's choice for me? We can make a wrong decision just because it looks, sounds, all of those things. It looks good, sounds good, feels good, and it's not right for me. It's right for so-and-so, but not right for me. And I have made that mistake. Felt right, looked right. Of course it's right. No, it wasn't right. So we need to remember that the choices that we make will bear consequences if we make them incorrectly, if we make them based on emotions. There's so many ways of making a decision, but the best way is to really pray and ask God, what is it you would have me do in this situation? And there's some big decisions to make. So we for me, I don't want to take it lightly. If I have to make a big decision, like a home to buy, a job to have, how many children are we having? Those are big decisions, and they impact our life negatively or positively based on our decisions. So I think with the wisdom protects us and rescues us from those decisions, dangerous diseases. I mean, wisdom is everything. It helps us with destructive paths we could be on, how to get off it. So I encourage everybody, we need to have the wisdom. We need to know how to make decisions. And one of the ones that I thought about most, it seems to be a very difficult one, is to make a career change. Career change. I've done that a few times.
Had like 25 different jobs.
It's like, it's always somebody's nemesis, I'm going to say it's really not that great to have to think about a job. However, if you have grown up and you've gone to college and you know what you want and where the avenues are for that, okay, that might be a little bit easier. But for the regular person who maybe doesn't have 4 years of college and a master's degree, even then, it can't be easy. It's harder to know exactly where you belong, where you are going to work best. And again, I go for myself back to the Lord. He has chosen for me. I never thought I would be doing the occupation I did, but I did. That was what he chose for me, and he equipped me. But anyways, so let's take this career path. How do we make a choice? We have a job now, and it's really not that great in my emotions. I want to quit.
Yep.
I want to quit. Okay. So let's look at the pros and the cons. That's what I would suggest. I do that for myself. What is the pro and what is the con? And we could have a list of them. All right. So one of the pros, the pay is right on target. Okay. So the pay is okay. So what if I change? Will I have a job that pays that much? That's number one. 2, the hours are great. However, the con is not enough challenge in my work. I don't have that challenge.
Okay.
3, I like this one. Plenty of vacation, personal leave, and sick time accruals. However, the con is no easy access to it. If I go to ask for time off, well, I'll get back to you. Oh, okay. Oh, seniority-wise, I'm sorry, you're number 3 on the list. So-and-so is number 1. You will have to either talk with them or just accept the fact you have to wait for number 1. Oh. So
you're speaking to some folks right now.
It's like, oh, and they're all important. So, and the other one for me, love my boss. I love my boss. 4 on the pro, on
Y'all
the
better
cons.
listen to Lucy right now.
On the cons, coworkers are gossip-oriented and not easy to work with. Well, how about the list? Yeah. And the last one, love the work with outside contractors. Cons, no real opportunity for advancement. So how am I going to make a decision on whether I stay or whether I pursue a new job?
Oh my gosh, Lucy.
You want my list?
Maybe in a minute. I got to backtrack because, like now I have 3 things to, well, it could have been 4 things, but for the sake of not keeping people on this podcast for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to emotions.
Okay.
Let's talk about the emotions. So I want to share with everybody what Lucy and I were taught by Pastor Robert, who pastored Reimagine Church here before I took over as senior pastor. This is something he instilled in me, and I do believe this to have lots of truth to it. Okay, he said, emotions are neither good or bad; they just are. Yeah. Now, when you hear me say that, think like this: as humans, we have an emotional construct about us. We are emotional people. So when you get emotional, that's normal. Right. Don't worry about being emotional.
Right.
Don't worry about being over emotional.
Right.
Here's where you need to have some real understanding, though, when it comes to emotions. I would say this. Listen to me, fam, okay? What's more important is how you process what you do with the information once you've processed. How you choose to respond and what people get to experience of you after you've processed. So listen to me. Be emotional. Do it. Go at it.
Yep.
You need to have a talk with God. Do a little yelling, a little crying.
That's right.
A little bit of venting. Do it. For some of you, that might be the only way you're talking to him. And if that's what's going to get the conversation started, do it. Don't bottle it up. Go. Be emotional.
That's right.
Go and get some people to be emotional in front of a close circle of friends or something like that.
Yes.
Get it out. You got to get it out.
That's right.
Because that's what's going to help you to heal if you need to heal. That's what's going to help you just get better at whatever thing that you're struggling with. You need to get better. Get the emotions out on the table. But here's the thing, okay? You don't want to carry it on you out into life.
Right.
You don't want to carry it out to your spouse if it has nothing to do with them. You don't want to carry it out upon and put it out upon your children if it has nothing to do with them. You don't want to bring it to church and bring it into the ministry you're serving in if it has nothing to do with that ministry or those people.
Right.
You don't want to bring it onto the job if it has nothing to do with those people on the job. You've got to be a person. We talked about this at a Bible study. Okay. A person, as you're maturing, who is aware of yourself. You have to. You listen, I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying anything to harm anyone.
Right.
You're going to be a great human to other people when you are a person who is aware of yourself. You are a person who knows how to examine yourself. Amen. You are concerned about how you affect other people when you bring all your stuff.
Yep.
And they have nothing to do with the condition you're in.
Right.
Your stuff. But yet you bring it, and now it becomes their problem.
That's right.
To deal with you and your stuff.
Not fun.
Some of us are too busy for that.
Yes.
We got our own stuff. We got things going on.
We do.
We don't got time for it.
Nope.
And, you know, you might have a flame on you, and now you come and you burn the whole forest down because you got this
That's
person
right.
ramped up. And
That's right.
this, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. So that's enough about emotion. What was the other thing I said I wanted? There were three.
Oh, three things.
There were three things. I said emotion. Oh, consequence was the other one.
Yes. If you don't make the right decision, you can have an unwanted consequence.
Consequence,
Remember
family.
that from being disciplined when you were a kid?
Okay.
Did you ever get that?
Disciplined?
If you
kidding
don't
me?
do this, then you're
Yes.
going without dinner or whatever.
Or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
All right. Consequences. Okay.
That's a big one.
Consequences should be a motivator for you and help you make better decisions.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
You have to know in life
That's good.
there are both good and bad consequences. And which one you're going to get is going to come from what you've sown. Okay? Because we reap what we sow. We've talked about this here on the podcast before.
Yep.
Reaping and sowing and reaping is a biblical principle, but it's not just for the Christian.
That's right.
It is a principle of God that exists in the earth. Okay? There are people out there that are not walking in relationship with God, and the principle, just like gravity, okay, the principle of sowing and reaping applies.
Yep.
And everybody is experiencing. How do we know? How do we know that that's a fact? Well, how many prisons do we have filled with people?
Yeah.
They had some consequences.
Yes.
Okay? Because of choices that they made. And there's a thing called the legal system, and there's a thing called
The
justice and the law, right?
That's right.
So I'm pretty sure you're understanding where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Let consequences be a motivator that drives you to make better choices and to know this as well too, okay? For the most part, as people existing together on planet Earth, our processes are connecting and overlapping from one to the next.
Yes.
Something you do causes
right.
this thing to have outcome A or outcome B or outcome C. I think that was probably enough right there.
Yes.
You know, what you do,
Oh, yeah.
you've probably heard this before, maybe, depending on how old you are and you know, your family dynamic. I've told this to my children before too. I say, what you do does not only represent you or affect you, but there are going to be people who are going to look at you and they're going to see what you did and they're going to think, I wonder what kind of home you come from.
Ouch.
As the child, you are the reflection of your father and your mother and the home environment. So what choices you're making, there are people that are going to look and be like, I wonder how they were raised. I wonder how they grew up. So if you're doing so good, they're going to think you must have came from a great home. You must have, you know, because that's just how. But if you do not so well, some people are going to think, well, you must have come from this kind of environment. And this is especially... I want to really just speak to the Christians right now, okay? Hear me on this. Good. Your social media accounts, the things you're saying and the stuff you're putting out there. I want you to know this. What you're putting out, you are, especially if you're a pastor or you're a ministry leader, it's not just your thoughts and your opinions and your views, but you are representing your church, your church body.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So some folks may come to your church or may not come to your church because of what they saw on your
social media.
Yeah. So just choose wisely. That's all I would say with that. All right. Now, what was the other thing? You probably have to read to me those other things that you had there because you had a list there.
But, you know, I want to add to just what you said too. You know, we reflect our home life, and I had stupendous parents. They weren't perfect, but they were on their game as far as values, morals, all of that. I grew up with that. I rebelled. That was me, but they taught well. So, okay, but for those of us or those out there that don't have that does not mean you have to stay in that spot. As you grow and you receive, and I'm going to say we pray for you to receive Jesus. Jesus can bring you all the way around to reflect the goodness of him, and your life will be totally different. So if you don't have that home life that we're talking about, the good home life, and then we can reflect that in our own lives, you can always have the life of Christ in your own life, and he will make your life good. So it's you don't have to have it that way. Again, it's a choice. It's a choice. But now your question was on the other...
Those, yeah. Because I don't remember that list at this point.
Well, we covered consequences, we covered the decisions on emotions, and then the very small voice, God's voice, and then weighing what's right for you. That was the last one. If you choose something that is all good, looks all great, all of that. So that's yours now.
Weighing what's right
for you.
For you. Okay. I had said earlier. No, and this was off the cuff, but I had said earlier, know the difference between your gifts and your passions.
Yes.
Okay. That's not. I didn't come up with that on my own. I actually heard Steve Harvey say that, and I love Steve Harvey. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I think Family Feud, as far as him as a host, I think that he's their best host.
He was.
He's just so funny.
Yeah.
But he talks about God. And when they're like in between, like filming, he'll speak to the audience. He'll share things about God. He'll share things about just to motivate people. And I love those clips.
Yeah.
And he says things at times to just help folks, like what we're doing.
Inspire them.
To inspire them to be great, to be better, and to strive. Because he came from nothing. You know, he lived out of his car.
There you go.
Steve Harvey did not just jump right out and be what he is today. If you go back and you watch some stuff that he has said, where he tells his story and how he, started performing at the Apollo and things like that, and really got his jump start into comedy. There was a time where he was living out of his car.
Amazing.
Could you imagine?
No,
Living out of his car.
I can't. Now look at him.
Now look at him.
It's amazing.
But he said, know the difference between your gifts and your passions.
So good.
I would say, listen, the stuff that you're really gifted at, the stuff that's burning inside you, you probably could narrow down like no more than 5 things. I would say you could probably narrow it down to about 3 things. It's going to be really a handful or under the stuff that this is what God has built you for. These are your these gifts came from God. This is how God has constructed you and how what he's calling you to, because this stuff just comes with ease. Like for me, I've always loved music, so I became a musician, and it was hard at first to learn instruments, things like that. But then I got it as I kept pursuing it, and it just became. You could tell that was something God was gifting me and calling me into. And then there were other things like teaching and administrative stuff and media things and technology. That all but then there's a whole world of stuff out there that does not come easy to me. You won't see me working on cars.
I don't have a vision of that.
No, engines and stuff like that's just not. So
do you ever lift the hood or just?
No, I mean I know how to do the basic things, but like you won't see me changing my own brake pads or anything like that. I'll pay the $100 to have somebody else do, because I don't have the equipment for it. I don't know how and there's a plethora of other things. Now listen, that's kind of like out there that doesn't help you with knowing the difference between gifts and passions. That just really helps. I'm telling you stuff I'm gifted at and stuff I have no clue about. Passions. What are some things that I would say I'm passionate about, but I'm not really gifted. And it's probably something I don't do well, probably would never do well. I think dancing is fun. I don't dance.
No.
You don't want to see me dance.
I can't see you dancing.
No. But like I watch some dancing and like I think they're really good.
Yeah.
That looks so fun. No, my body don't move like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Martial arts. I'm a huge kung fu buff.
Really?
Yes. Love. So I've said before, my family loves things like Marvel movies and things like that. I love kung fu. I have Ip Man 1, 2, and 3. I've seen all the Ip Man series. If you don't know who that is, Ip Man was the one that Bruce Lee learned.
I remember him.
Yes, he learned Wing Chun, which is a form of kung fu from, and then Bruce Lee made his own adaptations of I think it was called Jeet Kune Do was his it was his own. And Bruce Lee, I love Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And there's so many movies, the actual Bruce Lee movies, and there's the ones of stories about Bruce Lee. Me doing martial arts, I get in the mirror and sometimes I do hand motions and stuff. My wife's like, "What are you doing?"
Wishing he were a...
Just wishing. That's all, babe. Just wishing
okay.
and just hoping that someday if I ever got in a fight, I just won't die. Love martial arts. Never studied. If I had the money, I probably would do it. I just don't have the money. And to get good, it takes years of commitment.
That's true.
You have to commit to the study. And the folks that do it, that they've spent their lives. This is their gift. I'm just passionate about it. I love to watch the choreography of it. It blows my mind. Passionate, yeah. Gifted, no.
There's just some things that is not your gift. Like, I cook. Always cooked. Okay. Some people love to cook.
I love to eat.
And it's different.
It is.
That's not the same boat.
No.
But it's not I can do it. I'm adequate. Sometimes I even excel in it. But it takes effort for me. Some people, it's effortless. Just effortless. They know how to do it. It's not a problem. I can think of a few people that are like that. But it's not been me. It's not but I will do it and have done it. But there's other things that come easy for me. Same thing. Speaking, writing, communicating. Communications is my thing. And I am actually passionate about it. I really enjoy it. Whatever.
But you're gifted. You're gifted. Yeah. In I think since we started doing this podcast together, I think right out the gate, it was easy.
It really is. It some of it has been training because of where I've worked, but I know that that's a gift that my dad had. So I guess I'm not surprised that it is in the family. And my son is even more excellent a communicator than probably the average Joe Schmo too. He's just got the gift. So gifts versus talents versus passion.
Yep.
Passion. I don't know. I'm passionate about life. I don't have anything specific. I just have a passion for life in itself. I love to go and sit next to the water. I mean, that's not much, but I love creation.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about creation. I'll go in the fall. I don't have to go anywhere that's commercialized. Just give me trees, and crisp air. We've talked about the fall before.
I just had a thought. This could bring us back to consequences, and then maybe we can round it off.
Yeah. Yep.
I know we're kind of rambling on at this point about gifts and passions, but there's a healthy teaching in this.
Yes,
if you're listening and watching, because if you know how to discipline yourself to separate the two, it can be such a help for you to not make poor decisions based off of your passions that end up having not good consequences or results. I don't want to say like bad consequences. Think about it like this, okay? American Idol gets hundreds of thousands of passionate applicants every season.
They do.
But they only have a very select group of gifted individuals who get to compete against other gifted individuals. Same with The Voice or any other types of competitions. I'm just giving you the singing competitions because I've watched plenty of American Idol. Prefer the Voice. That's just me. That's just me. As far as singing competitions go, seen many seasons and episodes, and I think American Idol got to a point to where over the years, which they've been out for a very, very, very long time now. I remember season 1, which put Kelly Clarkson on the map. She owes her life to American Idol because she's a staple now in country music, pop music, her own talk show and everything. But she was the very first American Idol winner. Okay. But over the years, American Idol has been able to also reap from the folks who were only passionate.
That's true.
And what consequences were for those folks, the shaming and that we look at the videos and we laugh and we think it's funny, right? But do those folks think it's funny? Probably some do, and I think some they go out and they know it's a joke from the start. But then there are others. I'm sure their hearts were really convinced because I love to sing.
Yeah,
I'm so good, and they weren't.
And they really thought they were,
and they really believed it.
Really did. I mean,
God bless them.
I was going to say you have to go there.
Oh
and do
my
that.
gosh.
Yeah. There you go. So that's a consequence of a wrong choice.
Yeah.
Case in point. But we all make them. Like you said earlier to begin with. We're still learning. We're still growing. Nobody ever arrives. We have a lot under our belts per se as we get older that we can say, okay, that one is finally done. But there's so many other things circling around us that we haven't accomplished. We never will. It's just not meant to be that way. So we have to rely on God, number one, for decisions. We have to ask him, what are the consequences going to be? If I don't do it right, God, if I don't hear you, I don't respond well, what are the consequences? And then am I basing it on emotions, which we all have. And I have done that, not so much anymore, thank you, but I still do once in a while. And it's not good. It's not a good way of making decisions. So having said all that, we just need to learn how we need to do the pros and cons. I even suggest doing pros and cons and even journaling. If it takes a little bit of time, take your time. It's not like you have to make a snap decision every time. That I'm not saying there won't be moments. It's going to be, okay, what are you going to do? I get that. But for the big things in the regular way of life for all of us, we can take our time. Take your time. Write the pros and cons. Consider it in prayer. Ask God. Maybe even ask someone else that you kind of think of as a mentor or someone that would give you, their advice. Even ask them. Doesn't mean you have to take it, but you can ask them what they believe themselves to be of good choice for a matter that you may have, that you would really like to have somebody else's, piece of advice.
Yeah. That's good.
So
should we round it off?
We will round it off.
Wow. That was good stuff. Hope you guys were encouraged today.
Yes.
Hey, do us a big favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe, please. Hit the bell so you're notified when new videos come out. We're on a schedule of putting out videos on Fridays. That's when the new content arrives to you. And we really... And we do mean this when we say this. We're not just asking you to comment for the sake of commenting and what that can do for us. We really do appreciate your feedback.
Yes, we do.
Because we're learning. As we were saying, we learn from your feedback. Things that you're sharing are going to inspire us for things that we may want to talk about. Or there might be things that you share and we're like, oh, you know what? Yeah. We can do that better, or this and that. And the other thing, you're probably noticing that our set is different, has been for the past couple of episodes. Well, that's because when we got started, we just started a certain way. I had someone in church that pointed out a couple of things to me that also has a YouTube channel and has over 1,000 subscribers and had some feedback. My daughter Abigail had some feedback, and I was like, you know what, I want to try out a couple of different things. And I was saying to Lucy earlier, I was like, Lucy, there are a lot of things I know, but I do have caps and I have limits on things, and then I need other folks to teach me things. Amen. So we appreciate your comments, and you can Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, Facebook. Leave us some comments. We just want to know how you guys are doing. Yes. If this content that we're putting out is helping you in some way. Right. All right. Also, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We would appreciate your reviews as well. All of these things are going to help get the word out, help the podcast grow, and it's going to grow because of you.
Thank you.
And we thank you for that. Yeah. We don't want it to grow just for the sake of growth itself, but because you're listening and hearing some things that you think are helpful to you and you think they're going to be helpful to other people. Right. So please share. We thank you so much for that. And as we like to close out, that's on God, fam.
It's on God.
Amen.